Player 2 has joined the game.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to episode 311 of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts here, Kevin, along with my brother from my mother, Sean.
Come original, won't you come original?
What? What was that?
311.
It was 311, okay.
Yeah. I don't know many of their songs, and that was the only one I could think of on short notice.
Shout out to Colin. If this is the first time you're ever seeing, hearing, or listening to us, this is the Two Player Co-op Podcast, where just about every week, two brothers get together to tell you everything you need to know about in the world of video games. If you like that, make sure to like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, family, and everyone in betwixt. If you really like us, you can go to patreon.com/2playercoop, where we have a lot of different tiers, but the most popular is the $5 tier, which allows you to get the podcast live one day early, which
tiers
is the $1.
Of the kingdom.
Yes. I hope we're not crossing tiers when it comes out. You get a bonus episode every month. Speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, that was a big topic in our last bonus episode. And you also get to watch us record the podcast live on YouTube like we are doing right now. But some of our patrons deserve a shout out, just like our affiliates. James Solar, make sure you check out James Games and More on YouTube. Sarah Solar, John Tingley, Derek Bamford, and Mom.
Excuse me.
As well as our producers, Steve Appleton, Aunt Sue. Because I can't do that. I was just thinking like...
Aunt Sue.
Right. I can't go... Dustin Downs and Chris Peralta. Also, make sure you check out PS Rewind on YouTube. Also, shout out to James Solar for taking an early lead with his third-round pick in our fantasy Metacritic draft.
I'm going to come back here in a few days. I hope.
For...
Hogwarts.
It's either going to be super high because they don't review it, and the people that review it say it's awesome.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Well, hoping is going to happen.
What are you doing?
What are we doing? Oh, God.
Dad?
This is Eliza. Yes.
Dad?
Yes.
Quit looking at
What?
yourself.
What?
I like your podcast.
Okay, thank you. I love you.
Leave a 5-star review on iTunes.
Yeah. Like, subscribe, share. All right. That's going to fall. Okay. Why are you here?
Huh?
All right. Love you. Bye. Go.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Door shut.
Bye.
Stop saying Uncle Sam.
All right.
Stop singing, Uncle Sean. If you like cool t-shirts and the like, you can go to teespring.com/store/2playercoop.
Back to your regularly scheduled content.
What's
What's up, nerds? All right, so James
is here.
probably just left.
Hell, yes. James, I don't know if you heard, but I gave you a shout out for taking an early lead with a third-round pick in our fantasy Metacritic draft, that being Dead Space, which right now is sitting at an 89. Third-round pick, 89. That's awesome.
It's
With
good value.
7 of us in this draft. That's awesome.
He got it one pick before I was gonna.
Yeah. I thought about it, but I got scared off because of Callisto, even though I shouldn't have.
That's where I was.
This is just like you take. Well, we'll talk about it. Okay. That's going to be mostly what we talk about today because there's not a lot of news. But yeah. But before we get to the rest of it,
The rest of us.
Sean and I on Saturday night watched the WWE Royal Rumble. I will say it was not as good as the last time I remember the Rumble being in the Alamo Dome. I'm probably wrong.
I think
it was
the
not as good as
issue-
97.
For like multiple years now, it seems. It's just so predictable. Like, either they're gonna do the predictable thing or they're gonna do something that's so stupid, like that doesn't even make sense.
Like
Obviously,
Otis getting money
Cody.
in the back.
Yeah. So obviously Cody was gonna win. He did. The Rumble match itself, I think, just because that was basically a foregone conclusion, kind of sucked. The spot with Logan and Ricochet was awesome.
I hate Logan Paul, but oh my god, that was
Yeah. Other than that,
was
the match
awesome.
was just eh. The rest of the matches were all eh.
the pitch black thing was stupid.
I will say they nailed the Sammy thing. Like,
So-
they couldn't have, like, perfect.
So
That's
what I will
exactly
say-
how it should have happened.
What I will say, and the match was really good. I mean, there was like I turned to Sean
Yeah.
at one point. It was like, oh my god, I thought Owens was actually going to win that.
Yeah.
The match was really good. The back of the head to the steps That stuff was
That
like,
looked
oof.
brutal.
But when they went off the air after 4+ hours, I was like, it was all worth it because of those last, I would say, 20 minutes. Like, everything after the main event ended that they did was like, now see, why can't you just do this more often? They have not had a story that I've cared about as much as I did from that 20
If
minutes.
we weren't here right now, I would be watching Raw to see
what happens.
Yeah.
And SmackDown on Friday. But like the last time I remember them doing a story this well was Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And that was only because they weren't going to do it. And then they were like, oh my God, we got to get this guy in the main
But
event.
again, they have all this to say. They also have kind of shot themselves in the foot because now it's like,
how do you do Cody versus Roman after that?
the only thing I can think of is they have him defend against both. Fights one of them one night for one title, fights the other one the other night for the other title.
That would be awesome.
That's the only thing I can think of. Split up the belts again. Have Cody say, I'll fight you for the Universal title.
Whatever the number one title
Sammy,
is.
maybe he wins Elimination Chamber, or even though he shouldn't have to, but I don't know. They did it perfectly. Yeah, it's the first time I've been interested in a story, not just, hey, I wonder who's going to show up at the end of SummerSlam, who's going to be a surprise entrant in the Rumble, this is the first time they've had a story that I've actually felt interested in a while. So kudos to them for that.
I've cared about a lot of the stuff that AEW has done, but I feel like that 20 minutes was better than anything they've done. Even CM Punk and MJF, and then we know everything that happened after CM Punk won the title and all that. He lost his mind and everything. But It was just, like, I saw so many people on Twitter saying that was Shakespeare. And I'm like, yeah, like, it wasn't, like, I still thought, like, maybe Sammy's going to do it. He's going to hit Kevin, and then, like, no, and then Roman gets in his face, and you can see Sammy go, like, he pushes back for a second, and then he's like, okay. And then he's finally like, I can't take it. And then Jimmy, I think, walking out like, I can't do this.
Jay,
whatever. Whichever one got the DUI or didn't. Okay.
I think.
Who knows? But like, it was so well done, and I got to think that they're setting up for these next 9 weeks till Mania, the erosion of the bloodline. I got to think Cody has to beat Roman, or he's never going to lose the title. But it's not going to be, then at Backlash, it's Cody versus Roman. No, Roman's going to go away for like
he needs
6 months or something. And he deserves it. He's been awesome. For all the stuff we used to say about Roman, when they finally turned him heel, for crying out loud, they turned him heel after he came back from beating cancer.
That aside, they turned him heel 2 or 3 years too late. But yeah.
Correct. But it's working.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm all in on Mania now. I want to know what happens tonight. The women's match was hilarious because everybody looked the same. They were all wearing, like, we're all like,
everybody's wearing hot
wearing
pink,
the same
neon
outfit.
Green, yellow, black,
with
and blue.
straps hanging down, and like they all got purple or oh god, it was so bad. We knew Rhea was going to win. Good for her. She's awesome, but yeah. And then the other matches were not great, but yeah. Royal Rumble. You know what? Maybe we bring back for the first time in like 4 or 5 years WrestleMania predictions.
Predicting the card or predicting
The winners.
when they announce?
Just to go through the 2 days. Although that might be
We can
like,
do that.
You know,
We
a couple
have
days before. Bonus.
patch Derek in. Derek may want to join.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Derek,
Okay.
if you're watching now or later, or now,
Let us know if you're
it's
down
now
for-
for you. Whenever you hear this, let us know if you want to come on for a Mania predictions episode.
Jason too.
Or Jason, yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun. Not Nick Shafani though. All right. Next up, so you texted me. We're going to talk about The Last of Us episode 3 as spoiler free as we can.
Did you watch last night?
Yes.
Okay.
You texted me and I was like, so Sean texted me TLOU was incredible. And I was like, okay, I got to sleep on this.
I thought it
Yeah.
was incredible. I thought it was in a completely different way, but up there with like
Don't say Ozymandias.
Ozymandias and some Game of Thrones episodes. Like, yeah, it's The Last of Us. There was one infected. All right, sorry, I don't want to do spoilers. There's not a whole lot of action, but a whole lot of story. And you can make the argument, was it all for nothing? Kind of. I mean, none of that really matters now. But I thought it was executed perfectly. And yeah, they went off script a little bit, not as much as Twitter would make you believe, but they went off script from the game. That wasn't all made up. It's just stuff you don't really see in the game.
Okay. You're right. Yes.
I thought it was done perfectly. I'm guessing your thought, and I can't really deny it, is that it seems a little, I guess, Emmy baity.
Yes, of course.
But I don't know. It was completely unexpected for me. Like when we heard about that casting, we're like, oh, that's perfect.
And apparently, Frank, I've never seen him in anything that I can remember.
He was in.
Awesome.
I've never heard of him.
He's
before.
in the White Lotus.
White
apparently.
Lotus. That's yeah.
But I haven't.
Which I still don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the casting was perfect, even though they went in. Again, I don't want to say a completely different direction. It's just stuff that
James, you're muting. We're not going to spoil it, but I'll wave my hands when it's time to come back.
That's fine. Yeah. They didn't completely go off script from the game. I mean, the end result is pretty much the same. But yeah, I thought it was really good.
Okay, keep talking.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I've said everything now. I loved it. It was, in the end, kind of inconsequential, but it's one of those things I wish we could talk about with spoilers. It was very emotional. I'm trying to think of what it reminded me of. There's something that it reminded me of as I was watching. Oh, well, I can't say what it reminded me of, but it was very emotional.
To me, I thought it was a good episode.
It reminded me of when
Okay.
he was just like, "This is it, last day,"
Well, yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh. Well, yes, that too.
I thought it was a good episode. And maybe my reason for being disappointed was because of how much I built this up. Just hearing so many people say, episode 3 is it, episode 3 is it, episode 3 is it. Yes, it was a very Oscar Beatty / Emmy Beatty episode. And it was like, it was an hour and 20 minutes long. I was like, is this ever going to end? The stuff that I was looking forward to from Nick Offerman as Bill was to see him and Bella Ramsey interact like they do in the game.
Yeah.
And that we didn't really get that.
Yeah.
The positives, I will say, the letter, which in the game you get a letter, this letter's different.
Totally different.
And it sets up everything perfectly for non-gamers. I will say that. It almost it's so on the nose, but it's only because we know what happens from here. I will say the one thing that I loved was the montage at the beginning after Outbreak Day.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, on episode 75 or 100, whatever it was, we were streaming one time, and one of the questions was like, who would survive, or something about post-apocalypse. And I was like, everything he's doing, that's me.
what you would have to do.
That's literally what I was like, okay. And then I'd loot everything, and I'd get some freezers, and I'd figure out how to get solar panels or something. Like, so I love that. That made me so happy. The biggest thing that I did not like about this, and again, it's more, I guess it's more for me about what it wasn't than what it was. Because what it wasn't was we didn't get that. We didn't get that. And that was one of the things I was so looking forward to seeing was how are they going to do that on the big screen?
I hope we still get.
But it's not going to be
that.
It's not going to be a 3-on-1.
Well, no, but we better.
I assume we will, but like,
Yeah.
that's probably going to be the ending.
I mean, I don't know. You see a couple more, but yeah.
You do,
Yeah.
especially when you're going through one of the houses, and it's like really you got to turn the power on, go down here and get a key
God.
and do that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Other positives, I loved everything with Joel and Ellie in this. Was like they are nailing this.
You can see every single episode, like they're
taking one more step.
yes, baby steps, but yeah.
Everything about this, like Joel in this world and the game, does not care about anybody. He's done after what happened 20 years ago. He's done, whatever. But even like the little thing of saying, let's cut through the woods. She's like, why? We're on a road. No, there's something I don't want you to see. And then we see it, and then we see the backstory of it. And I'm like, oh my God. Especially when you see the clothing and stuff, I'm like, thank God they didn't show that.
Yeah.
And thank God they didn't show the end. I was going to say that. Also, the end, like the last shot, reminded me so much of part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because, yeah. So I'm not saying it's like, there's some people saying it's the best episode of TV they've ever seen. I'm like,
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay,
But I think
come
it
on.
was I thought it was unbelievable. I thought it was very good.
I did like the little bit of action that we got was really good. With what Bill is known for is his traps.
Yeah.
And we got that.
Yes.
And it was awesome. But it just, and also they kind of tricked me at one point when all that was happening, and then I was like,
Like, wait, are they gonna
do that?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll flip from the game. But I don't know. It's so hard to talk about. I think it was a good episode. I'm not saying it was bad. It's just as someone who loves the game so much and loved that section of the game so much. But I will say, at least we get to see how Bill's Town became Bill's Town.
Yeah.
So good. It was so freaking good.
Well, this next one is going to be
This next one, from the
Unbelievable.
trailer, I was like, oh, that's the game.
it's
I'm hurt. He's not hurt. I'm like,
there's that
oh God,
there's
we're doing this. Run.
the truck tank thing. I assume we're getting Will
That's
that be
what I
this
was
one?
trying to figure out.
Because
If
then
it's either
5
this or
has
the
to be
next one.
Wyoming finally. Or else they're never going to get through this game. So that's got to be this one. There's going to be a lot.
Oh yeah, because
that
they
happens.
both they escape, the 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Joel's in the water. Okay.
So that's
yeah.
got to be this whole episode. I'm guessing that's the end of it. And then 5 will be fall. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think 5 and 6 are fall. 7, 8 are winter. 9 is spring.
Winter is
and
what I'm
that's it.
so terrified.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think in the
There
game.
is 9, right? Not 10?
9.
Yeah.
Has Ellie at this point in the game, has she ever had a bow and arrow, or is that not until winter? That's what I can't remember. When she's hunting the deer and all that.
I think that's, I don't think
Okay.
it's till winter.
Okay. All right, we'll stop there. James, we're back. I'll just say for me, I think the first episode was a 10, the next one was a 9.5, and this was like an 8. But I think for a lot of people, it probably went 10, 9.5, or 9, and then 10, if not off the charts. But yeah, great episode. Sean. Oh, also, it's been renewed for season 2, where they're going to do part 2. Neil Druckmann said on Twitter that they're doing season 2 as part 2. Now, I have to hope that he really means season 2 will start part 2. You have to do that in 2 seasons. Like we have
I
speculated.
think now they're confident. I think they had to do season 1 or part 1 in 1 season.
Yeah.
because they didn't know for sure if they were going to get renewed. So like, we got to tell the story. You can't stop in the middle. Now, I think season 2 is happening. I think if they want it to, season 3 will absolutely happen. So I think they need to split part 2 into 2 seasons. Now, whether they do that concurrently and make it last for 2 seasons or just do...
Like the game, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that worked. I mean, it would work, but I think it's
say,
better. I almost think you need to jump back and forth or something.
What I think they should do is what they should have done in the friggin' game. Get us more backstory on why what happens should be acceptable to people that are fans of The Last of Us. Give us more backstory. Give us like more build up. Give us more of that. Like it just came out of nowhere. That's why I'm still like, whatever. I'm sorry, Rasan. I'm sorry you found out.
I want to know because I think it would. I'm trying to think of how it happens in part 2. No real spoilers. I think it's shown in flashbacks, but maybe not. I wonder if we get any kind of future days in this season. Or if they're like, yeah, it's part of 2, we'll save that for next. Like, I wonder if they just ever show him, like, playing guitar. I think that would...
I can't.
I hope they...
I can't.
Yeah.
If freaking Pedro Pascal can play the guitar and sing...
He seems... I want to say I don't know why I would have seen him do that. I probably haven't. But
how did they rope him into
like,
Wonder Woman 84? How did he get roped into that stupid-ass movie? Like, this dude is the man.
Yeah.
I feel very inadequate watching him. So if he can also... If he can sing and play the guitar and he does Future Days... This season or next, I'm done. Oh, also, by the way, my God, R.I.P. to Annie Wershing, I think is how you pronounce her last name. I did not know that she played Tess in the original game. I knew her from the last few seasons
24.
of 24. Did you watch 24? I can't remember.
No, I watched...
Early on.
When did I watch? Like, was it on for a while and then it left? I know it was gone for a while. And then it came back, or maybe it was just like a movie or a miniseries.
It was a miniseries.
But before
Live
that,
Another Day or Die Another Day or something like that. Yeah.
Before that, was there a time where it stopped for a little bit and then came back? Because I randomly started watching at the beginning of some season, and I don't know what it was that got me into it, and I couldn't even tell you what happened. But short answer, no, I didn't watch it. I watched part of one season in the middle, and I liked it, but I don't know.
So I finally watched it. I think it was like season 5 when I finally went back and watched everything. And that's a show that I forget about when I talk about my favorite shows. That's probably top 5 when it comes to dramas. It got a little weird at the end. People came back from the dead. Characters that people loved, and like, why'd you kill him off? Now he's back, whatever. But Annie played Renee in 24, and she was awesome. She was like, from what I remember of the last 2 or 3 seasons, however long she was in it, she was one of the people that I was like, and I don't even remember if she lives or dies. I can't remember at this point. But like, she was so good on that show. She was 45. I'm crazy. 41. I never thought when I was watching that show, she was on it like whatever it was 10 years ago. I never thought she was 4 years older than me. I thought she was already at like 45. Not that she looked 45. I mean, she was beautiful and everything, but she carried herself like she was older, but I guess that's what actors do. Anyways, I had no idea she played Tess, but then I saw some pictures of her in the mocap and I was like, oh my God, now I see it in Tess's face. Like, Tess does not look like her. No. But you can tell the way Tess moves her face that it's Renee / Annie. But, yeah. WWE 84 sucks. All right, so James is back.
I never saw it, but I just have no.
I watched CinemaSins.
Honestly,
and I was like, this is way worse than Batman vs Superman.
Honestly, I don't even care about Shazam.
No, because what's the point now?
Exactly. Yeah, like I didn't care about the first one. Well, I didn't
about
care about
Aquaman,
it, and then I saw the trailer, awesome. And I'm like, this might actually be good. Yeah. And then I saw it, and it was very good. So you'd think I'd be like, well, I'm not going to fall for that again. I know this one's going to be good, and it might be, but I don't care. Like, how do you have... I don't know much about DC in general outside of like Batman and Superman to a lesser extent. I certainly don't know anything about Shazam or Black Adam.
Right.
Other than the fact that they're very, like, it might as well be like Batman and the Joker kind of thing. Like, so you have Shazam. I don't think you have any mention of Black Adam. Then you have Black Adam, and you don't have any mention of Shazam, to my knowledge. I never saw it, but like, what do you do? Like, do a post-credit scene. Like,
they did one.
Well, okay, but not to tie it back to Shazam of all things. When you've got Shazam 2 coming out a few months later, like, hello.
I am
it's
so
a mess.
pissed off.
Yeah, I don't
James
care
Gunn,
about it.
I don't care that you made Guardians 1, 2 sucked, 3, I hope it's really good. The Suicide Squad was good. I don't give a crap. You are an idiot. You have no idea what the hell you're doing. That you WB literally lets Henry Cavill film a post-credit scene, announce to the world he's still Superman, he's back, and then say, nah, we don't want you. Like, I'm not saying you should do everything based on what the internet says, obviously, because the internet's horrible.
Do you think James Gunn is a Marvel plant set to just take the DC down from the inside?
Joss Whedon clearly was. Like, we know that. I'm not even. That's not even me being Bill as a 9/11 truther or anything. That was obvious. He killed Justice League, but like, I just don't care. Like, and Aquaman is delayed like a year or something. Like,
I couldn't care less.
I don't
about
care.
that.
He's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm always going to be Aquaman. I don't care about you as Aquaman.
Yeah.
But then people are saying, no, he's going to be Lobo. I'm like, okay, so I'm going to look at the guy who played Aquaman, and now he's Lobo, and I'm supposed to care? DC sucks. Like, thank God we've got the Batman, and Matt Reeves has to pull every string he can to just say, no.
Stay away.
No.
We're not.
We're here.
Yeah.
We're
doing our own thing.
Yeah,
we'll
do
fine.
the BCU, but we're not going to be part of the DCEU. Freaking asshole. All right, Sean.
Yes.
Have you played anything else this week? All right. So, main topic this week, Dead Space. Let's review it. Sean.
Okay.
I didn't get to play it a lot more, so I'm in Chapter 5. I'm terrified right now. I don't know what to do because I'm running for my life, and I don't know where to go, and I keep dying.
I'm still in Chapter 3, but I'm guessing if I could have played another 10, 15 minutes before, I probably would have beaten Chapter 3, I assume. I like it a lot, but I still think the hype is a little overblown. Like, people saying this is like game. I mean, if you want to say it's a game of the year contender, that's fine.
I will
not
say
this year. I can't imagine it's a game of the year contender.
I'll say this right now: it's my game of the year.
Yes, mine too. People saying it's like the best remake ever. I don't even know if I consider 7 Remake a remake. I mean, It is, but is it?
It's a sequel, yeah.
But to me, Resident Evil 2 is the best remake ever. And I don't know. This might be number 2, but it's a pretty big gap. I'm enjoying it. But I feel like I've got through no fault of its own, but when you have a thing set in space, or at least a spaceship, and it's one of the things I didn't like about Callisto either, everything just looks the same. Like, oh, I'm in another metal room with screens everywhere. I'm just like... So I know this is like Resident Evil in space, basically. It's a remake, so I automatically compare it, I know it's not fair, to Resident Evil 2.
Well, yeah.
And when I think of Resident Evil 2, you're out in the streets, you're in the police station, you're like down in the sewers, you're in a lab. Like, even within the police station, things look different.
You know where you are.
This game, yeah, I'm like, okay, now I'm in here. Oh wait, have I been? Oh, I have been here. I'm like, okay, well, this looks just like every other room. I don't know. It's fun, but it's just kind of leaving me wanting more. Not more of it, but just more than I think it's going to give. Now, maybe later on it blows up. I don't know how many chapters there are.
10.
Okay. So, I mean, I've got a ways to go. Maybe it just gets crazy. But, like, I like it. I'm having fun with it. But, like, the spaceship setting, it's like, okay, everything looks the same. Everything's so dark. And I get it. It's a horror game. It's supposed to be. But I'm like, it's just annoying when I can't see. It's not really making things that much scarier. It's just annoying. I will say there's one part where you had to turn off the lights in order to power like an elevator or something. I wrote
it right here. Yep.
And there's a guy coming at me and I shot him, but then I had to reload. So I'm like, oh. And then when the gun went back up with the flashlight on, all of a sudden he's like right in my face. That scared the crap out of me. So kudos to them there. But I'm like, I'm so sick of everything just being so dark and I can't see anything.
There was also a time when I walked down, like I opened a door and there was a hallway and there's a figure at the end and it goes, make us whole. And I was like, what the hell is happening? And I like blinked and then it was gone. I was like, what the hell is that? I don't want to go that way. I'm not going to walk over there. Like,
yeah. The map, I'm thankful there's a map. But it's actually a pretty good map. I shouldn't have to hit multiple buttons to get to it.
Right.
It's driving me crazy. Just when I hit the touchpad, default to the map. Then let me hit L1 and R1 through the rest of them.
Am I crazy or did it say?
It did because
it doesn't work.
When you texted me,
yeah,
I got to that part 5 minutes later. I'm like, oh yeah, and I did it. What? It went right to the map, and it never has again. But yeah, that one time I held it and it went right to the map. Now it just always goes to the inventory, and then I have to wait. R1. Okay, there we are. I'm like, I just want to be able to look at the map and then get off it. I don't want to. Because it takes like 3 seconds instead of 1 second.
But it's still.
But those 2 extra seconds are driving me nuts.
What we're talking about is that in Dead Space on PS5, there's a point early on where it says if you click the trackpad, it brings up your menu. But it says if you click and hold it, it'll go right to the map. Yeah. Like, oh, okay, cool. Click, hold, it works. Okay. And then I'm like, where do I go? Click, hold, inventory. I'm
inventory.
Like, what? So, and apparently they patched it, but as of today, when I tried playing it, it did not work.
There was some update today that it's like, and I just said, keep playing without the update.
Oh, by the way, have you had any tech issues?
I don't think so.
Because I had a major one. I was done working.
The only one I had, there was one time where like a dude's arm was like literally just an arm on the ground was like flopping around like a dead fish. I'm like, what is it going? No, it's just like flopping and flopping. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. But other than that, no.
Today, I loaded up my save in Chapter 5, and I was like, okay, unlock this door, go through here. Okay, there's some lockers. I can loot, whatever, go through here. Okay, follow the path. I do like that you can click R3 to follow, so you don't even have to bring up the map if you know where you're going. But I still I want to be able to do the map thing so I know if, have I been in this room yet? Should I go in and try to open lockers or just not and keep going? And then I get to where it's like, okay, follow this path to this computer. And I'm like, okay. Like, the line ends at the computer. Nothing's happening. I'm like, okay, whatever. Go back. I'm like, okay, so something screwed up. I go back all the way from whence I came, go to the save spot, save it, close the app, open it back up, reload, boom, go back that same path, enemies everywhere, this is happening, this happened, get to where the computer is, cutscene plays. I'm like, okay. But that's the only tech issue I've had, but it pissed me off because I wasted like 20 minutes.
Yeah. No, I haven't had anything like that. For me, it's the setting. I don't think, even going back to like Alien and Aliens, I don't think space, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just so out there that I'm like, this is stupid. Space, horror, movies, games, whatever, I just never, it's not as scary as, even if it's a police station, not a mansion, whatever. Like,
that's a real world setting that we know.
Like you can put yourself in there. When I'm in the space station thing, I'm just like, I don't know. So I don't find, there's a lot of jump scares. The time I pulled the flashlight up and he was right in my face, that scared me. But I don't have this overall feeling of just like, oh God, like I don't want to go around this corner. So it's scary, but it's not that scary. I mean, to me right now, it's like an 8 out of 10. It's leaps and bounds better than Callisto. I will give it that. The other thing, and I don't think this is adding to my, I don't want to say dislike of it, but my whatever.
Hey, John.
I'm at least, probably stupidly, entertaining the idea of getting the platinum. And I know you have to beat it on like super hard difficulty, which I don't know that I'll ever be able to. But the other thing I know that you have to do is beat it only using the plasma cutter. So that's what I'm trying to do right now.
No. Nope.
So I don't know. I like it. I don't love it. It's probably like an 8 out of 10 right now. Like, I would be shocked if this isn't on my top 10 at the end of the year. But the way people are talking about this on Twitter, you would think it was like the best game of all time. I'm like, it's good, but pump the brakes, guys.
Yeah, so I almost wonder, like, so neither of us have played the original. So
Right,
I
maybe it's a
almost
lot
wonder,
of nostalgia.
But I've also seen
Would
some
we have
people
liked
say-
Resident Evil 2? Well, you never really played the
I
original.
never, literally never.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that's out the window.
But no, this is not. RE2 is like a 9.9 out of 10,
Yeah.
if not a 10 out of 10. It's so perfect. It only got beat by Death Stranding, which is obviously an 11 out of 10. But I do wonder if we're missing something. But then I'm like, no, we can't be, because you have to make a game that stands alone. It can't rest on something that came out 15 years prior for you to love it.
yeah.
I will say, to your point, there's not a Mr. X thing or anything like that. But where I'm at now in Chapter 5, something happens that flips what you've been doing the entire game on its head. And there's also a cutscene that happens that kind of explains what the hell is happening. Also, I just love that they're making fun of Scientologists in this. I thought that was a very 2007 thing, but I thought that was funny. But there's a thing that happens where now I almost feel like Mr. X is here. It's not Mr. X. I don't want to build it up like that. But it's like 3/4 of a Mr. X is what I would say. It sounds like I'm saying Miss.
That's what I thought the first time. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I thought you like, no, there's not a misdirect. I'm like, okay, they're not. Okay, so they're not trying to fool me. But now I understand. You're
All right,
saying
what were you
Mr.
going to
X.
say before you forget, and then I'll keep going.
I don't know if it's from all of the like God of War and maybe even Callisto to a very small degree, and all the various Soulsborne games, whatever. There's so many times where a dude is in my face and also a dude has come up behind me. I never have a dude coming at me where there's not also one coming behind me. Like, seriously, every single time there's one in front of me, I'm like, I might as well turn around because I know there's a guy back there too. There's so many times, and when I try to run, he's like, oh.
Well, I mean, he's got a big suit on.
I
yes,
get it, but
trust
I'm like,
me, I know.
I feel like I need a dodge button or I need a real
I wrote down
dash. Like,
I
there's
keep
so many
wanting
times.
to block or dodge, or let
Yeah.
me just do something like
Right. So
Leon
especially when I've
takes
got-
a knife and goes kink, in Resident Evil 4 or whatever
Right,
he does,
yeah.
like something. To
There's
at
so
least-
many times where I'm like, not necessarily surrounded, but snuck up upon, and I'm like, I gotta run.
I'm in what I've got links.
So yeah,
his
that dry,
iron
and I
boots
know
on.
it's not meant to be that kind of game that's like fast, like twitch dodge, like but like, man, I really wish I could either dodge or like dash, roll something. But,
So,
yeah.
what weapons do you have? Because I can't remember when I got the ones that I have.
Plasma,
Yep.
pulse rifle,
Yep.
the Ripper,
Yes. Okay.
flamethrower. I think
Did you
that's
get the
it.
next one? Okay. There's a next one that's super powerful, but you don't get a lot of ammo. The Ripper, I love.
So
I
that's the
just
other thing.
wish-
Because I'm trying to do all the plasma cutter.
Well, that's dumb. You're not going to get the Stop. Stop.
I've
the
been like
Ripper-
putting all of my upgrades into that and my suit. So I'm
Yeah.
like, it's getting pretty strong. But
Have you bought another suit yet?
I've gotten one new suit.
Okay, so I'm up to 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
But the Ripper, I freaking love that weapon, but I never throw the blade. I'm just like, no, I'm just going to go king and just let it hover there and just zzz, zzz, zzz. But the only thing I wish you could do, and maybe it would be too OP, I wish you could change it, like instead of being horizontal to be vertical like you can the plasma cutter.
Yeah.
Also, like I said in the Discord, the whole time I've heard about this game with a plasma cutter,
I assume it was like a lightsaber.
it's like-
like a.
no,
Yeah.
it's just a shotgun with 3 like arrows telling you where it's going to go. I'm like, well, that's kind of disappointing, but whatever. But yeah, the Ripper, I love. The death scenes are good. How do they compare to Callisto?
I've only died once,
Okay.
and the one time I died, it's in chapter 3 when you fire up the centrifuge.
Yep.
And I like went down the elevator, and then the guys on the video call thing. All right, well now you just gotta. I just
you got
walked
hit by
out.
the
I didn't
thing.
realize the thing was
Yeah.
spinning, so I just walked out and then boom, it hit me. I'm like, well, okay. So that was the first time I've died. But
I've had a couple. I've probably died 6-7 times now. I've had like my head just disappears because of alien, like one of those things that like the creepy crawl things with the tail. They're like, whoosh, and I've got no health, so my head's just. Some of the other deaths are cool, but I assume they're better in Callisto. But whatever. I like how. Have you ever gone to a store or a save point or a bench and been like RE2? Oh, okay, and then Mr. X comes in.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. I'm like, what the frick? You did it again. You're sons of bitches. This is horrible. I don't think you've done it yet, but have you fought an enemy called a brute?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I fought like the main guys, the things that kind of look the main guys, except
Yeah.
I don't think they have legs. They
Yeah,
kind of
they
look like
just
a little
crawl.
scorpion thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The little
The
things that
guys
look
go
like the face
and
hugger,
they-
but then they get their three things.
Like a Dilophosaurus, yeah.
And now I'm fighting the guys with like the big belly. And
Oh,
you
where
shoot
you
them,
can-
and
where
they
they've got the thing here.
and then all the little flying things come out, and I think that's it.
When you fight a brute, I died. Actually, no, I haven't died 6-7 times. I probably died 16 or 17 times because when I fought this guy, it's kind of like
Is it
what
like
I
a
would
bloater?
assume. No, it's way worse.
Oh.
It's kind of like a mini boss. It's big, and I'm just. One thing I've realized as I play through this is I keep forgetting the sign in the very beginning of the game that says "cut off their limbs" in blood.
That's what I still don't understand. Like, okay, there's a guy coming at me. I can shoot his legs off. Okay, that'll slow him down. Now he's on the ground. Should I still not shoot him in the head? Should I be trying to shoot his arm off?
Yes.
Okay.
So the brutes, I fought one other since then, and I will say this: the other thing I forget about in combat is that the stasis. I forget.
I
that's
always forget.
combat.
Yeah.
When a brute comes through a door, remember stasis, because I died 7, 8, 9, 10 times at this guy until I finally was like, wait a minute, I can slow this guy down. I can get around, then I can go like, but I mean, you're gonna go with your little pea shooter.
It kind of reminds me of when I did Death's Door with the umbrella the whole time. Like, that's kind of what this feels like.
Yeah, that's why I never went back to that game. One thing I was wondering as I was playing through this, I haven't seen anybody say anything about it, and maybe I'm just not paying attention enough. God of War 2018, one of the big selling points of that was the no-cut camera. Am I crazy, or is this also a no-cut camera?
I kind of think it is.
Because like even when you go to the store and you get a new suit, whatever, it's just
Yeah.
it pans out, nothing cuts. It shows it in real time. You get your new suit and everything. All the cut scenes are like you standing there talking to people, like
I think
was
it
back
is,
15
yeah.
years ago. It's a no-cut camera,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like I like it. It doesn't make God of War any less cool. It's just like they made this, and I don't know if this is how it was in the original. I assume it was, but I'm like, this is a no-cut camera. This is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
that they did.
Yeah, I hadn't
this.
even realized that, but I'm pretty sure you're right.
The other thing, what are they talking about? Ghost of Tsushima working on the Avengers PS4 Platinum. No, yeah, you don't need an Avengers PS4 Platinum. I love the no HUD. Like that was one of the only things I remembered about the first one, because back then I had just got my PS3. I wasn't really paying attention to games. We were about to have our first kid. Like I was definitely in my low period of gaming. But I remember the whole no HUD thing and actually experiencing it. I'm like, not only is your life on your HP on your spine, you've got the stasis
ammo's
there.
on the gun.
And the ammo's on the gun, and then you've got like there's a little magnet that says that you've got the kinesis thing, you know. Also, I did not realize this was a gravity gun game until I saw somebody in a review or something say this is kind of Half-Life 2, and I was like, oh my god, I can pick stuff up and throw it at people. What people? You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that. And there's all this stuff laying around. I'm like, well, I can shoot it and it'll blow up. Cool. But like, I didn't even think, no, I can suck it in. I can go boom. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it. And I don't know how effective it is because of the whole cutting off the limbs. But
Well, if you ever see like a pipe, like a blue pipe or like a pipe with like blue, to kind of let you know that you can grab it, and you
oh, that's how you get the
throw it like
the
a
spear.
javelin
Okay.
basically, and it just That's, I think, one hit kill.
That's a one hit kill.
Probably not to like a brute or something, but
Yeah.
like everything else, yeah, one hit kill.
Well, and also whenever you see the fans on the wall, you can like hit those, because that's where all the creepy crawlies jump out of.
Yeah.
You know? You can break it. If you R1 it, it'll break, and then you can go boom. But I think it's just like
I did not know
a broken
that.
fan that you can throw. But I also find myself walking around going, open the door. I'm like, there's nobody. This is okay. Screw it.
And then something jumps
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
I really, really like this. I think when you get to chapter 5, what happens really towards the beginning of chapter 5, you're going to be like, okay, now this is getting crazy. I think you'll like the fight with the brute. One of the other things, the only other thing I can think to talk about is that this game is messing with my head, because there are times when I feel like I have so much ammo that I'm like, this is not survival horror at all. You're only using one weapon, so who knows? But then there's also times where I'm like, I go to switch weapons, I'm like, oh my God, I've got like almost nothing. What the hell?
There's
Okay.
been times I've run out of ammo, and I'm like, I don't want to switch the weapon, so I just stasis them, and then I just, and then I eventually find more ammo. But I've run out of ammo once or twice. It's not.
I've
fun.
also been very close. There's been a few times where I'm like blinking red and I've got no health packs, and I'm like, I don't even want to open a door. Like, there's got to be. I'm like, okay, let me look at the map. Let me go around. Where's the closest save? Because this is horrible. There are a lot of saves. I'll say that. That's good.
They're pretty fair with the saves.
But when I die, I don't even know. When you die, do you get all your health back? I haven't paid attention. Well, you've died once.
I don't know. I feel like you do, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just to like the last room you came in exactly how you came in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It seems like the checkpoint system is not great. It seems like it goes back to your last save button.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I really, really like it. I've really got nothing else to play anytime soon. Derek, sorry. I don't know that I can even get through the train robbery on Red Dead. I just don't like it. I just don't. But I want to take my time with this, because after this, there's really nothing until March.
PSVR.
Oh, that's crap. Yeah. That's, right. That's not crap. That's right.
Oh, that's crap. That's,
So yeah,
what,
but
3 weeks?
I mean, that's about a month. Yeah. 3 or 4 weeks, but what are they talking about?
I can't even. My eyes are so bad.
Our chat has way too much Avengers talk right
How
now.
much of a grind is it? Is what? Oh,
Avengers.
Ugh.
All right. So Dead Space, really good.
What would you give it right now? Because for me, it's only about an 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. But Callisto's like a 5.5, so it's way better than Callisto.
For a while, I thought 8, but then I started realizing that I was not, like I said, I was not playing it the right way. I wasn't using the stasis. I wasn't targeting the limbs, even though I know that if I walk into a room and it's just like I see somebody walking around, I'm like, okay, I want to attack him this way, or do I go for the legs first? Okay, cool, boom, boom, boom. But it's when shit goes crazy and somebody just appears and I'm like, I'm just shooting him in the chest and he's like, but once I realized, like, also, why the melee attacks in this are pointless.
They're pretty
They just
worthless,
keep
yeah.
you from dying, I guess. But I feel like the more I've gotten used to playing it the right way, along with the new weapons, along with the story stuff, which actually I really care about the story. It's around a 9, 8.5 to a 9.
Yeah.
It seems like the more I play it, the better it gets, is what I would say.
Okay.
So Dead Space, check it out. If you already played it, I don't know if it's worth the upgrade, but I think it's pretty good. Sean. Yes.
Continue.
Okay. You want to get news of the week?
Let's do it.
All right, Sean. Not a lot going on, as is the case most days, but let's talk about that Xbox Developer Direct. This summary comes from Eurogamer. Developer Direct kicked off with a look at Minecraft spin-off Minecraft Legends and its PvP experience. It's out April 18th, 2023 on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and of course Game Pass. So yeah, it's Minecraft Legends. I don't even know. I will say this though. Shout out to Xbox. They bought Mojang however many years ago, and they're still putting new stuff out on PlayStation. Good for them.
Yeah.
Then we get to see some Forza Motorsport. I don't know how many Forza Motorsports they've made, but I like that they're going with a naming convention that I've said many times for consoles of just Forza Motorsport.
I think this is like
10.
I was going to say 8.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, but there's been a lot.
They showed off fully dynamic time of day and weather, a first for the series, and over 500 cars. This will launch at some point this year on PC and Xbox Series X and S. So it will not work on Xbone, but no release date. This is one of those games that we thought was supposed to come out the first half this year. No. Next up, Microsoft announced a shadow drop of Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush, which leaked ahead of the show. It's a rhythm action game that looks inspired by the beloved Jet Set Radio. And the best bit, it's out now on Game Pass. Didn't Sean draft Forza?
I did.
Yeah. Doesn't mean he has to know what the history of it. Damn it, I hit my chair button. The developer direct then took a U-turn into Elder Scroll Online's next expansion, Necrom, which also has leaked. This includes a new playable class called the Arcanist and is set in Eastern Morrowind. It's out 20th of June 2023. Arcane Austin's Redfall closed out the show. Redfall is a shooter that can be played solo or an up to 4-player co-op. It's out the 2nd of May. And that's it. It was short and sweet from Microsoft, but it gives an idea of what's coming in the first half of 2023. There's no Starfield, of course. That is set to get its own showcase at some point. All right. So that was not a great...
We're not just blowing past that.
What did I say?
Which gave fans a better idea of what's coming in 2023.
2023. Okay, so the big thing here is Redfall. It got a release date. The release date had already leaked, but that is May 2nd. Some other notes I got from some other people is that it does feature a large, handcrafted, and detailed open world setting. There's a lot of environmental storytelling. It can be played, they're saying, single player or co-op. We'll see. There's also skill trees and customization options. I really hope this game is good. This game, in no reality, is for me at all.
Redfall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I have not played... You didn't like Deathloop. That was the last big game they put out. And, they did Dishonored 2, all the DLCs, all that. Nothing about a co-op vampire shooter is like multiplayer and vampires and FPS. Like, I'm like...
No.
But I do hope it's good. But it seems like this should have been the big headline, is this game finally gets a release date and everything. But I feel like the headline was this Hi-Fi Rush. Have you seen this at all?
Yeah. I don't know if it's for me. It's something that, if I had Game Pass, I would 100% check it out. I don't know that I would like it, but I would certainly try it out. It does look pretty cool, and people seem to love it. I've also never played Jet Set Radio, which also people are very fond of, but yeah, I don't know.
And Sunset Overdrive. But yeah, it's a rhythm action game. It is a single player story based game. There's also big set piece boss battles. I've seen everybody raving about this. I will say, I don't know if it's for me. It looks awesome. I just love the fact, even though it did leak like the day of or the day before, I can't remember. I love that something like this from somebody like Tango Gameworks can still just be like, hey, here it is. But like that's something that only Microsoft can do with Game Pass. You can't be Sony and just be like, Horizon 3's out now. It's like, well, what? No, you got to pay $70. What are you talking? What's the story? Like, it's something that Game Pass. It's the good and the bad of Game Pass, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah.
But I'm glad people are happy. Also, Phil Spencer did an interview with IGN. Some of the highlights here are that he said that 2022 had too few first-party releases and they need to do better. Yeah, they had 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Hi-Fi Rush is viewed as a successful shadow drop. Phil apparently is more confident in the ABK acquisition than he was a year ago when it was announced.
I mean, of course he has to say that, but if he actually is, he's an idiot. I'm not saying it's not going to go through, but I don't know how you feel better about it now than a year ago. But
I just wish, just say yes or no, and so we can move on, and then they can buy Ubisoft. He also said that 343 and Halo are, quote, critically important for the future of Xbox. Despite the recent cuts they've had at the studio, I would say, tepid initial response to Halo Infinite seems like it's a lot better now with the map creation and all that. But, I don't know. Obviously, Halo's not going anywhere, but I don't know what you need to do to fix it. But I don't know, Sean, any thoughts on the Xbox Developer Direct? I do like this. I'll say this. I like the format of hearing from the devs. It was 35, 40 minutes, I think, something like that. I like that Starfield is going to get its own showcase because it needs to hit.
My big takeaway, at least outside of everything we just said, Starfield is not coming out the first half of 23. There's no way.
I don't care that they updated the website saying, the support.
Especially if they're putting all this stuff into Redfall. Starfield is not coming out before May 2nd.
No.
And it's probably not coming out too soon after May 2nd.
Right.
Which means it's not coming out first half of 23.
The only thing I will say, I heard somebody say that June 30th is a Friday. So they could really stretch it to the end of the second quarter.
Maybe.
But I still say this game's November. You just delay it a year, get it as good as you can get it, and hopefully it's great. But yeah, I don't know. I like the format and everything, but nothing here really spoke to me that much.
Yeah. Are you gonna? You've got Game Pass. Are you gonna play Hi-Fi? Or you're just like, I don't care, even though it's free. I don't care.
No, I don't know. First off, my kids stole it. It's up here. But second off, it's. I've never liked rhythm games, and I know this is not the same thing at all. Isn't it theirs? Huh?
Isn't it theirs?
No, I got it from me for Christmas.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Jess got it for me. Taco Bell. But no, I try to think of rhythm games that are not Guitar Hero, and all I can think of is that stupid Cadence of Hyrule. And I was like, this is beautiful. This looks so good. And then I'm like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, no, I don't want rhythm. I don't want. There's been Kingdom Hearts games like that, the Chains of Melodies, whatever things, I don't want. No? Memories? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Whatever.
I don't know if that's a rhythm game, but it's Chain of Memories.
James will try out Redfall. 10 more. Okay, they're back to Ghost of Tsushima. I love you guys. I love that you're having your own conversation. that tells you how slow this news week is. All right, next up, last item on the news list. Some news about The Last of Us Part 3 and the future of Naughty Dog. This comes from Push Square. In the last year or two, there's been a lot of speculation and rumors surrounding a supposed The Last of Us Part 3. Naughty Dog is currently working on its big standalone multiplayer game set within the same universe, but a full-on third entry to the main story is apparently not set in stone at this stage. I thought it was saying it's not set in the Stone Age. Neil Druckmann speaking with BuzzFeed. How does BuzzFeed get an interview with Neil frickin' Druckmann?
I don't know. But do you want to know? Tell us about you and we'll tell you what combination of a cupcake and a
Last of Us character you are. He has addressed the topic, commenting that the studio may move on from The Last of Us if it can't work something out for a Part 3. Quote, I know there's a bunch of people wondering about The Last of Us Part 3 and whether that will be a thing or not, Druckmann says. All I could say is, at Naughty Dog, we're very, very privileged that our publisher is Sony. They have supported us every step of the way to follow our passions, meaning that just because something is successful, people think there's all this pressure and we have to make a sequel. That's not the case, end quote. He continues, pointing to Uncharted 4, Thief's End is one of its most commercially successful releases, but that it was able to move on from the franchise and pursue its passions. Quote, likewise, with The Last of Us, it's up to us whether we want to continue it or not, Druckmann says. He explains that if Naughty Dog, quote, can come up with a compelling story that has this universal message and statement about love, end quote, that the team will make it happen. If not, quote, we have a very strong ending with part 2 and that will be the end, end quote. Kiss my ass, Neil. So outside of the Last of Us factions, or whatever the multiplayer game is called, the future of the series is unclear. Druckmann did say a while ago that an outline for a potential third game had been written, so you never know. Also, he did, there's not a quote here about it, but he did also say that they have moved on from Uncharted. Now, people are pointing to this new PS5 ad saying like, ooh, new Uncharted with a girl, whatever. Maybe there's been rumors forever, for a couple years now, I think, that one of the other Sony studios is working on a reboot or reimagining whatever of Uncharted. But what do you think about Neil said and the potential for Last of Us Part 3?
I think it's going to happen.
I think this is complete BS.
I think it
and I
probably
do not think
was
Factions,
already happening.
Factions is not Part 3.
I think it was probably already happening. Now, with the success of the show, I think it's definitely happening. And this whole thing, like, the studio may move on from The Last of Us if it can't work something out for Part 3. So, if we don't make another one, then we're done with it. Like, okay, you've said absolutely nothing. We're either going to do it or we're not. Okay, that means nothing. I think it's happening. I don't really know where they go. I don't know. Plus the fact that supposedly they've already got at least an outline for a third game. Like, it's going to happen.
I mean, they can retcon something from Part 2 like they did Part 1 and just make that like the biggest deal ever and the greatest story ever told. I'm not looking forward to Season 2.
You should just boycott it and not watch it.
Yeah, that's going to do a lot. Yeah. This one guy who's still paying you $16 a month is not going to watch it.
Well, but if you hate it so much,
I do hate it.
Are you just going to hate watch it?
Yes. I'm going to yell about it. John says, I hope they make a new IP and go back to The Last of Us in a few years. Yeah, I agree. James says, they can make Part 3 episodic and come out at the same time as Season 3 so that you'll play a chunk, then watch an episode just like Quantum Break did. Damn it, James. God, please don't let this be Quantum Break. Although Quantum Break was probably better than The Last of Us Part 2. I ranked that higher on our Games of the Year list than you did. You actually liked the stupid-ass story.
What else came out that year? Like, was that 7 Remake?
Immortals, Demon Souls, Miles.
What, I had it like 5 or
You
something?
had it 5.
You had
I had
3?
it 4. And I was like, I hate the story, but it's like the most technically perfect game I've ever seen. And I stand by that. The story, though, Taco Bell farts. Like, horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. All right, Sean. Time for the wrap up. As we just alluded to, Sony has new ads coming out that say it's much easier time. You will have a much easier time finding PS5s from now on. There's a lot of hints in the trailer and everything, in the commercial and everything. Some people think they know what it's saying. I don't know. We'll see. Xbox has announced that they are going to have a summer game showcase, but they have not said if it's going to be at E3 or not. I hope it is, and I do hope Sony goes to E3 just because
I saw on Twitter, I think it was from Wario right before I came over.
Oh.
I don't want to misquote anything. Let me see if I can
Breaking
find it.
news. Yep, this is what you tune in for, folks.
Anyway, here we go. Wario. According to an IGN report, Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony won't be a part of E3 23 or have a presence on the Los Angeles Convention Center show floor. Why are we doing
So
E3?
it's dead. It's
like, so stupid.
the main attraction, Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that sucks. Oh, well. 343, as we kind of alluded to earlier, has stated they are still in charge of Halo despite the staffing cuts. Good for them. Just don't suck. Supposed footage from an alpha version of the Horizon multiplayer game has leaked online. Apparently, like I said, this is an alpha version from the summer of 2020. I didn't see it because I think everything has been taken down, but people compared it to Fortnite with the looks. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But it's not for me. I don't care. Like, I like Horizon fine enough, but I don't care about this game. If it's, I mean, Aloy's already in Fortnite, isn't she? Isn't she skin? Or was?
I don't know if they ever did that.
I think she was.
It wouldn't surprise me.
UK-based studio Gobo has announced that they have partnered with Guerrilla as a co-developer on the Horizon universe, as they called it. They did previously help co-develop Redfall, Hogwarts Legacy, and other games. Again, Sony is going to drive frickin' Horizon into the ground.
They already are.
RDR?
Already are. 2.
Capcom is expecting to clear 40 million games sold before the end of their fiscal year in April. Much of the reason for that is because Resident Evil 4 Remake is predicted to be a mega hit. Yep. So, them saying that tells me, okay, it's not getting delayed.
No.
We're getting it March 24th. I cannot friggin' wait. The only issue with that, John Mayer is doing a solo tour, just him and a guitar. And he's playing in Nashville. Jess and I might go. And he's playing there on Friday, March 24th.
John Mayer can...
No, I haven't seen him live.
John Mayer can wait.
I don't know that he can.
I will have that game beaten by the time you get back from Nashville.
It's 20 hours long, at least. No, you won't. I mean, we would be gone for a night, so I'd still we'll just delay the podcast a day that week. But yeah. Atomic Heart has gone gold. This is a game, somebody drafted it, I can't remember who, but I think this is another game that could just be because I see all these reports that now they're having to deny that they're funding the Russian government and funneling money to them and everything. I'm like, my God, let these people just make their freaking game. Like, the Russian people are not the problem. The problem is the Russian government.
Yeah.
Stop. It's not like the Chinese government is horrible. Chinese people are not horrible. You know what I mean? I hate how everything just gets lumped together in these. It's friggin' the echo chamber that is Twitter, and I'm so glad I can't even use the Twitter app. My echo font is gone. I don't even know how to. I hate the regular Twitter app. Every time I go there and it's like, boom, boom, back to the main screens. Like, for you or following. I don't want to go to follow. I just want my list. I want a button at the bottom where I can click list and it doesn't reload. It doesn't just disappear every time I open the freaking app. It sucks. Game of the Year nominees were announced for GDC, and they include Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, Immortality, Pentiment, Stray, and Tunic. Now, this is GDC.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Game Developers Conference. So, I can kind of get it, but,
it's like...
some of these things are not like the others.
Right.
It's like what?
What's the awards? It's like the SAG Awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elden Ring and Stray have the most nominations with 6. God of War Ragnarok got 5. As we're recording this, Ubisoft is about to reveal The Crew 3 on Tuesday, which is tomorrow or yesterday if you're not a patron. Games with Gold were announced for February. Xbox gets For the King and Guts Goals.
Guts Goals. I've never heard of either of these.
Nope. Just stop it already. PS Plus games for February have leaked, and they include Ali Ali World, Mafia Definitive Edition, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and Evil Dead. Obviously, Sony wins,
Yeah.
and I assume this is right because we've had leaks for 10 months in a row, and they've always been right.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I will probably add... Oh, I did try to play Destiny 2 the other day. Before Dead Space came out, I downloaded it and everything. And I'm like, I don't know how to... where am I at in the story? I don't know what... There's just, you go to space and you're just floating in your stupid ship, and it's like, okay, how do I just do a mission? I can land on a planet, and then somehow I finally figured out how to do a mission, but I don't even know, is this story-based, or is this something that's, And I was running around, I was just shooting people, and then you die and you respawn. So it's like you can't really die because you just respawn in 5 seconds. I'm like, I think I just need these 100 gigs back. I don't know. Beyond Light's supposed to be good, but yeah. That is it for this episode of the Two Player Co-op Podcast. Thank y'all so much for being here. Hopefully the slow news weeks will cease, so we have a lot more to talk about next week. But until that time, Sean, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for playing.